Today I'm going to be showing you guys how to run smoother frames and gameplay on console, so make sure you watch the full video and let's get right into it. The first thing you want to do is turn your colorblind mode off. What this is going to do is just let Epic Games on its normal mode. So let me explain this in terms a lot of you guys more will understand. So colorblind mode on is just an extra layer on, so it makes it less smoother, and when it's less smoother you're most likely gonna get less frames. If you're on an old gen console, it doesn't really matter. Just make sure your colorblind strength mode isn't really above 5, because I used to run the brightest colorblind mode settings and it used to make my game so choppy and almost unusable. So make sure your colorblind settings are low, and if you really do need it, try to keep it as low as possible for yourself. So make sure it is like that. The next thing is your motion blur. For motion blur, you can get away with it on PC, but if you're running on a console, man, it's so bad. This is what motion blur looks like when it's on. You see how it's kind of it's just blurry. It does what it's meant to do, but I promise you it's not worth it on the console. Look, you go down, motion blur off, and then this is what it looks like. It's not the best map to represent it. This Clicks is 1v1 map, but you can tell the difference. Like, even when I'm building, don't judge the builds because I just got on, man. Same with the clips in the video, but I promise you, you want to have this turned off. Same with show FPS, you want both of them off. The next thing is your HUD scale. So basically, the bigger it is, it's just more, the larger thing is just more things Epic Games needs to run to make your game, movable. So you want it between 60 and 80. This is what it is, what it looks like on Mac. Here it's kind of like bumpy and just not as fluid. Now this is what it looks like on 60. Let me put it on 60. Bop, you want to scroll all the way down to 60, and this is what it looks like on 60. So it's a lot smoother, you have more room on your screen to look. Even if it didn't give that much of an advantage, I would still put my HUD scale lower just so there's more room to see. So you make sure you have your HUD scale low. The next thing are in the audio section, you want to go down to sound and its subtitles. So you guys know those cutscenes, or even when you're talking to NPC, there's subtitles at the bottom. You don't want to care about those, man. They just make your game slower. Unless you do care about your subtitles, you can turn them on. They don't really change your game too much, but I promise you on console, you want every benefit you can get. So make sure your subtitles are turned off and everything is to the left. Everything to the left. The only thing that doesn't really matter is your text color. That doesn't really matter. It can be white or black. It just looks better white in my opinion, but that's it for your subtitles. That's it for your subtitles. It's pretty light. It's a small fix to make your frames a lot, and I mean a lot better. It's a small fix, but it helps. You need every benefit you can get when you're playing on console. The next thing to make you a smooth player is to make sure your controller is wired to your console. If you're playing on a TV, this is a little bit harder, but make sure your wire is connected to your console. So I promise you, it's not that difficult to do. You can just find a wire lying around your house that works for it. They're not that difficult to find, and they're pretty cheap if you really have to buy one. So yeah, make sure you wire your controller. It's less delay for your controller to console connect. The next thing is going to be make sure you have a good Wi-Fi and you're on a good Wi-Fi. If you can't do that, I promise you an Ethernet cord will be fine too. They're both pretty light. They don't do that much as you would think. There's not that big of a difference between 10 and 30 ping. It's not that big, but from 0 ping to 10 ping, that's where the really big difference starts. So make sure you have a good internet to make sure your delay is a lot less. Now the final thing I'm going to be talking about is your cosmetics. So this is skins, pickaxe, back blings. Make sure there's no animations on them or flames on them or all that stuff. Make sure you have basic. like pickaxes and skins, and also make sure you're using singular pickaxes and not dual pickaxes. Dually pickaxes are actually shown to make your ping and FPS drop while using them. Well, it's not that big of a deal, but every little bit will help you while you're on console, so make sure you're using a singular pickaxe. An example of these low cosmetics would be my gold trooper and the pickaxe I'm using right now. This is good because there's no extra animations Epic Games has to deal with, except for the small swing on this pickaxe. It doesn't really do much, but make sure it does really help you. Sometimes it's variant for different people, but I promise you this is probably going to be my biggest tip. I got you with that last one. It was not the final one. This is for the real people who stayed. This is the biggest and best tip. If you have a next gen console, make sure you're getting 120 frames. If you don't know how to, promise you just look it up. If all the steps they show aren't working for you, it means your monitor or TV cannot handle 120 frames. So make sure you get a monitor that's 120 hertz or above. So yeah, it's been your boy, and I'm out. Peace.